Aloha and good afternoon. Welcome to This Is Now. I'm Dylan Anchetta. We begin with some breaking news into the H&N Digital Center. 2 people have been indicted in a 2023 murder. A short time ago, the prosecuting attorney's office announced that Calais Carrion, age 39, and Angeline Torres, age 42, have been indicted for a 2023 killing out of Kahuku. They're accused of murdering 57-year-old Joseph Matson in early September last year, and his body was found in bushes along Marconi Road out there in Kahuku. Prosecutors say Carrion is currently incarcerated at the Saguaro Correctional Center in Arizona after being arrested on a parole retake warrant in October, and Torres was found on Hawaii Island yesterday. Again, this breaking news is that the grand jury has indicted them for second-degree murder. We will continue to gather more details on this story and bring you any updates as they come in. We want to turn now as we welcome our Maheilani Richardson to the Digital Center to give us the latest on the Red Hill developments. Maheilani, what's going on there?
Well, the big Red Hill trial starts on Monday in federal court, and this is a massive lawsuit. In fact, there were many lawsuits after the 2021 fuel spills that you may recall, where 20,000 gallons of fuel leaked from the Navy's Red Hill tanks more than 2 miles away from Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. After those fuel spills happened, thousands of people who lived at Pearl Harbor and in surrounding military housing got sick, and many of them say that they continue to suffer illnesses today. So that's what this lawsuit is all about. Now, these cases were basically consolidated. So there are 16 bellwether or lead plaintiffs who say that they've suffered long-term illnesses. Now, the case blames the Navy for not only causing the spill, but for failing to warn the families that the tap water was tainted. Now, the plaintiffs have about 26 witnesses. Defendants will bring in 15 more witnesses. It's really a question of who the government wants to call to hear in person. The trial is expected to take about 2 weeks, and there's no jury. We spoke with attorney Christina Bear, who's representing 7,500 clients.
The plaintiffs have 26 witnesses. The defendants probably have another 12 to 15 more, and it'll be a question of who the government wants ultimately to call. But I can tell you that the judge wants to hear from our plaintiffs. And the plaintiffs want to tell their story. And that's what this case is really about. It's about the extent of the harm. You know, you asked earlier about accountability. They already have accountability in that there is a finding of liability in this case for every single claim that the plaintiffs had. Premises liability, negligence, nuisance, all of it. The United States has admitted liability for all of it. Now the case is about the extent of the harm.
And so the attorneys from the Department of Justice have said in court documents that the U.S. does not dispute that the 2021 spill happened and caused a nuisance for these plaintiffs, and that these, quote, injuries are compensable under the Federal Tort Claims Act. The question is, the judge needs to decide the extent of the harm, and can the illnesses of today be linked to the spill of back then in 2021, and how much money should these plaintiffs get? Dylan?
Now, Mahale, we understand you've also been speaking with a number of the families involved in this ever since this started, and we know some of them may be testifying coming up. What's the next steps?
Well, 2 of the main families will be testifying in court on Monday. They have since moved to the continent, so they've flown in for this. They are Army Major Amanda Feint and and her husband Patrick. Another couple, Nastasia and Coda Freeman, they will describe a slew of illnesses for them and their children from drinking that fuel-tainted tap water, from gastrointestinal illnesses, dizziness, seizures, rashes, neurodevelopmental issues, and multiple hospitalizations. Now, there's a couple of people who offered their depositions who are high profile. Board of Water Supply Chief and Manager Ernie Lau, he offered a deposition for this trial, but the judge decided that she will only consider basically what happened from when the families drank the water and got sick. She is not going to consider what happened previous to that, and so that's what Ernie Lau is talking about. Also, a whistleblower who used to work at Red Hill as a lead director for Red Hill, she came into the Red Hill fuel facilities during 2020, and in March of 2020, you may recall, that was when the pandemic just started. She was told that the Red Hill fuel facility was this amazing, magnificent structure with 20 tanks with no problems. And then what she says in her deposition is that she discovered that contractors tried to cut corners because of trying to save money. And then she actively saw a spill in March of 2020 coming out from the pier all across from the Arizona Memorial. She said she saw a spill back then. She tried to alert her higher-ups. She tried to alert military leaders. But again and again, she was told that what she was seeing was just historical and part of the past. And eventually, she lost her job at Red Hill, but she will not be testifying, but her deposition is part of the record.
Our Mahealani Richardson unwrapping all of this for us. Thank you so much. We'll be sure to keep an eye on this story as we go forward with this trial. Mahealani, thank you so much. Let's turn now to some other news around Hawaii, including a call from HPD. Armed and dangerous. That's the warning from HPD. Officers are looking for this man, 28-year-old Christopher Manley. He allegedly shot another man in Nanakuli Tuesday night. The 23-year-old victim was hit in the leg but survived. Manley is known to frequent the Nanakuli and Waianae areas. You're urged to call 911 if you see him. On Hawaii Island, police are investigating after a man's decomposed body was found in the Hawaiian Ocean View Estate subdivision. Detectives made the discovery Tuesday afternoon on Lotus Blossom Lane. We're told the body had suspicious injuries. An autopsy will determine the exact cause of death. Call police with any tips. Tensions are rising on university campuses across the nation as more students are voicing their concerns over the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. This especially in light of President Biden signing a $95 billion foreign aid deal that includes money for Israel. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
On college campuses across the country, a growing chorus of anger as anti-war student protesters press their university leaders to stop doing business with Israel and any companies that back its war against Hamas in Gaza.
As a Palestinian American who's been silenced my whole entire life, I'm willing to risk most things.
The Biden administration commending peaceful protest.
It's a hallmark of our democracy that our citizens make known their views, their concerns, their anger at any given time.
While defending U.S. policy as demonstrators demand an end to U.S. support for Israel amid the humanitarian crisis and devastating death toll in Gaza. President Biden pressuring Israeli leaders to do more to bring in humanitarian assistance and protect civilians and aid workers.
The president has said that our policy in Gaza is going to be dictated by Israel's conduct in Gaza.
At the same time, the White House standing with Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas after the brutal October 7th attack and working toward a ceasefire deal that would free Hamas-held hostages. Politicians from both parties also standing up for Jewish students amid rising incidents of anti-Semitism.
The university itself has a duty to protect all of its students, including the Jewish ones.
Campus clashes leading to hundreds of arrests of students and faculty, and at least one university canceling its main graduation ceremony. The turmoil evidence of deep divisions here at home as the war rages on in Gaza. And there is growing controversy as President Biden is set to be the commencement speaker at Morehouse College's graduation, spotlighting how the war in Gaza is a difficult campaign issue for President Biden with young voters. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Back here at home, lawmakers have approved more than $800 million in new state and federal funding for the Lahaina wildfire recovery efforts. Honolulu Civil Beat reports the new money will come in addition to the nearly $200 million Governor Josh Green's administration has already committed to the effort. Senate Bill 582 will set aside $362 million in new recovery funding for this fiscal year, and Senate Bill 3068 sets aside another $460 million next fiscal year. And on Oahu, Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi and his administration got an earful last night at a packed town hall focused on issues in urban Honolulu. Last night's event at Manoa District Park aimed to address the issues for residents from Makali, Mo'iliili, Manoa, Palolo, and Waikiki. Many of the concerns centered on crime and the growing homeless population.
But my problem is I think that we have to enforce the law more. Enforce the law, not let people get away with things. Not let the prosecutors let people out 40 times before they go to jail, before they kill somebody, or before somebody throws chemicals on Danying Zhang at Planet Fitness. I don't want to be that person either.
We agree.
So I'm trying to say we need to enforce the law.
What you talk about is true. I hear you. It's valid. But if you knew the complexity of the things you're complaining about, if you walked in our shoes, I think your perspective would be a little bit different. We're all committed to enforcing the laws, but we have many challenges, including vacancies in every department.
We need to do more, and we will. But we are doing a lot. We're not indifferent. We're not allowing that to happen.
The Lahaina wildfire tragedy was also top of mind. Several people worry the same thing could happen in congested areas of the island.
If there's a wildfire back there and there are 40-mile-per-hour winds, it's going to burn all from the back all the way down. And Manoa has only 2 roads out of Manoa. So what kind of plans do you have to evacuate Manoa Valley when there are literally thousands of cars that are going to be trying to evacuate Manoa Valley once the siren sounds?
When the wind starts whipping around Diamond Head, you won't have enough helicopters. It'll be just like Lahaina, because it will go through the neighborhoods. It will go through Kapahulu. It will go down to Kapiolani Park, and it will go right into Waikiki.
So what happened to Lahaina was like a perfect storm, and it was a tragic incident. But what we have here on Oahu, we have a much more robust fire department, a much more robust water system, although the water system still has vulnerabilities. But just for an example, the Milani Mako fire was a slow-burning fire. Lahaina was just, it was just too fast to do anything. So for us, at the Milani Mako fire, we have an internal management team that can stand up fairly quickly. We can also stand up resources and personnel fairly quickly.
Fighting homelessness has been a key priority for Mayor Blangiardi's administration. He's taking that cause to Washington, D.C., where he's scheduled to meet with Biden administration officials on increased federal funding for housing initiatives. He'll be looking for additional money for the city's Section 8 and rent utility relief programs. Blangiardi will be out of town until next Wednesday. Managing Director Mike Formby will serve as acting mayor. From historic cases to witnessing the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom, one building in downtown Honolulu has seen it all. And now it's celebrating a momentous anniversary. Our Emily Cristobal has more on the history of Ali'iolani Hale.
For generations, people have passed by and through the iconic home of Hawaii's Supreme Court. But its history spans beyond its concrete walls and takes us back 150 years ago. While you may not be familiar with its name, you're sure to recognize it as the building with the Kamehameha statue in front of it. It's the building that's been featured in shows like Hawaii Five-0 and is also the place we gather for the annual lei draping ceremony. But more importantly, it was a central hub of government in the Hawaiian Kingdom.
This was the capital of the kingdom because at the time the building was constructed, and the reason for the construction is because government offices were dispersed around town at that time, and they wanted to consolidate all the government offices into one capital building.
Ali'iolani Hale, the House of Heavenly Kings, first opened its doors in 1874. It was commissioned by King Kamehameha V. in 1872 and was completed nearly 2 years later. While he didn't live to see its completion, his name is forever set in stone on the iconic clock tower, which stands at 4 stories high, making Ali'iolani one of the tallest buildings in Honolulu at the time. While its grandeur and size got some heat from journalists back in the day, it was actually constructed using plans originally intended for a new palace. With its exterior of strategically placed precast concrete blocks, the building has stood the test of time. But inside is a different story.
1911, 1912, the interior of the building was burned out because of some damage, termite damage and the like, and so they started over again. So the interior of the building as you see it today is from the territorial period.
The spiraling staircases and open rotundas tell the stories of Hawaii's history of law and order.
During the kingdom period, this was the legislative hall of the kingdom. So the legislature actually met in this area here. And if you read accounts of the opening day of the legislature, when King Kalakaua addressed the legislature, it actually took place in this area of the building.
In these courtrooms, Hawaii saw some of its most notable cases in history. It was also the building where the group that planned the overthrow gathered in 1893.
This was the seat of government. So they gathered in our back hallway, so they weren't inside of the Royal Guard, to make that proclamation overthrowing the Queen and the kingdom.
Fast forward to today, hidden in the cornerstone of the building is a time capsule, placed on February 19th, 1872.
It's one of these 3 cinder blocks, so it's actually in the cinder block.
Inside are contents holding a place in time that is much different than the bustling cityscape that Honolulu is today. And at this time, there's still no set date on when or if they even plan to open it. Now, the Judiciary History Center is hosting a community celebration with free tours to celebrate the Hale's 150th anniversary. Head to our website for more information. This is Emily Cristobal for Hawaii News Now.
A fantastic look at history. Thank you so much, Emily, for that report. Let's send you live outside now for a look over Honolulu. It's about 77 degrees there. Here, I should say. Some passing showers through, but nothing too severe. Stay with us. After this short break, we're going to have a look at your local weather forecast.
it on this Friday. The weather's looking good going into the weekend. However, today and tomorrow, still going to be a little bit windy. And then by Sunday, the winds slow down. Slower winds, fewer showers on Sunday as well. But today and tomorrow, we'll have more of these scattered showers moving in with that easterly wind flow. And the thing is, because the winds are so brisk and breezy, those showers won't be sticking around very long. They'll be passing, favoring windward sides. And so we'll see some afternoon sunshine for those leeward areas. All in all, should be a pretty nice day. But again, you got to factor in those passing showers from time to time throughout the day today and again tomorrow. And those winds, well, they'll be kicking up that wind swell over on the east side where it's still elevated and choppy. The North Shore swell, well, that's on the way down, although we could see a minor reinforcement later today through tomorrow. And South Shore, still fun size on the way down, though, at 2 to 4. So the weather is looking pretty good for the next several days, but there will be some changes. Breezy today and tomorrow. There will be scattered showers moving through as well. Fewer showers, drier conditions with lighter winds starting on Sunday. And when those light winds take over, they'll be here for a stretch into the latter part of next week. And the only thing with regard to rain is we could see some pop-up showers late in the day into the early evening, starting on Sunday through Thursday.
Hey, happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Davis and Kyle in the Digital Center for your weekly sports update. Kyle, This is the time of the year that we've been waiting for. We are talking about the NFL draft, everyone.
The NFL draft.
Kyle, we got some local boys in it this year.
Yeah, we do. Obviously want to start off, number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams from USC to the Chicago Bears. But yeah, we are talking some local players. Our Sienna Piloton did a really good piece on them leading up to draft night. Much like myself, I didn't get the call. I mean, my NFL
Kyle, you didn't get the call?
I did not.
I thought you were going to get it first round.
I mean, maybe as a water boy. But these local boys are hoping to get the call sometime this weekend. We got Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan. He had a standout career with the Wolverines in 2023, 48 receptions, 789 yards, 12 TDs. And then he had that touchdown against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Standout performance. He is, projected to go maybe a day 2, day 3 kind of guy. Other guys, defensive end Zion Tupuola-Fetui from the University of Washington, the team Michigan faced in the national championship. He is a Pearl City alum. And then we have Maris Liufau, Notre Dame linebacker, Punahou School, and another linebacker is Darius Musau, the former UH and UCLA linebacker of Mililani High School. Hoping to get that call. Other guys in the mix, you got Chevin Cordero, another UH guy, St. Louis guy, and other people like that. It's another busy time of the year for sports here on the islands.
Kyle.
These draft hopefuls, they all played high school sports. And let's talk a little Hawaii high school sports.
Good transition. That was pretty good.
But tonight we have the Oi Baseball Championship over at Les Murakami Stadium. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a fun one. Let me break it down for you. In the Division 1, we have Aiea taking on Kailua. Now, Kailua has had a very good run in it this season. We'll see how this shakes up. And then in the Division 2, we have Waianae taking on Radford. Radford, known for having solid baseball teams. So it'll be interesting, and it's pretty cool. They get to play at Les Murakami Stadium where UH plays. It's a big stadium. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, for any sport, too, getting that chance to play in, a college stadium, even if it's, football or whatnot. What a cool experience. It gets those guys wanting to play in a higher level after high school.
Absolutely. And then the games, so D2 starts first at 4 p.m. with the D1 to follow. Game's going to be on Spectrum OC16. I'll be out there.
Got a lot of things coming up, and make sure to stay tuned for all those latest updates. You can watch Kyle tonight, so stay tuned for that. And also catch our sports podcast, HNN Overtime. Make sure to watch that. We have the latest sports updates and have a little bit of fun every single episode, Kyle, as well. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. For Kyle and I, happy Friday.
Yesterday, Kaimuki High School inducted its newest Hall of Honor members. This year's group of distinguished alums include longtime radio personality Frank Shaner, accomplished cartoonist Stan Sakai, Sergeant Chris Kim of the Honolulu Crime Stoppers, and famed surfer, the late Roy China Uemura. Inductees shared words of wisdom with the students.
Life, if you just do the right thing, make the right decisions, and just be nice to each other, things eventually work out. Try to be good to each other, live a good life, make the right choices. Your future basically depends on choices that you make. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog. Bulldog for life. Love you guys. Take care.
Life shifts, life changes, and just be ready. You know, live an improvisational life. Make it up, make some up, find your passion, and you'll never work a day in your life.
If he was here, I know he's looking down on us, and he's super stoked. And if he was here, he would have had a lot of more stories to tell you guys.
China Uemura's son accepted the honor on his behalf. China passed away last January. Hawaii entrepreneurs are in the Big Apple this weekend to showcase dozens of local brands. The inaugural Aloha Market in Soho takes place today through Sunday, and organizers say the goal is to raise awareness and support for Hawaii businesses.
There are so many companies that leverage the brand of Hawaii that have nothing to do with Hawaii, right? Hawaii does not benefit from it, Hawaii doesn't profit from it. What our goal here is to help more of our locally grown, locally headquartered, locally owned companies, giving them a leg up, giving them opportunities so they can scale, there can be more awareness about them, and they can compete at those levels.
The market also features an Aloha for Maui section, highlighting wildfire recovery and 10 Valley Isle companies. Well, it's always amazing to see those businesses go out and share the true essence of Hawaii beyond the shores of the island. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let's end today's show with a live look out over Hilo. It's a bit more cloudy there in Hilo than it is here in Honolulu, but of course, it's Hilo. They're used to it over there. We thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of This Is Now. Be sure to stick around. Right after this is Investigates TV on your H&N digital platforms. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Happy Aloha Friday.